Peeps, good evening everyone. How are we all doing? Hopefully all doing very, very well. Your boy is back, obviously, or this would be the most amazing green screen ever. I landed a few hours ago. I'm trying to stay on UK time. I'm very, very tired and jet lagged, but I've got so much to do. So I thought, you know what? Go to the gym, which I've just done, get to the studio and do a video. So here we are, people. I don't even know where to start. You know, let's start with this one. Make sure you hit that subscribe button if you guys are new to the channel. And also don't forget to like and share the vids and follow me on Instagram as well, OLADIPO. As always, so much behind the scenes content. If you do follow me, you would have seen that on my recent trip. So yeah, make sure you follow me on Instagram, OLADIPO. Thank you so much for all the Instagram messages I got when I was out there as well. Loads of support, much needed. It was difficult, but we got through it. It was surreal as well. The whole trip was an eye-opener and just a crazy trip. And I mean crazy in a very, very good way. Like as soon as I got to the hotel, I landed, I got to the hotel around 10 o'clock in the evening, Wednesday night. The first person I saw, Bernard Hopkins, just there in the lobby. And I was like, so I didn't want to embarrass myself, so I just said, hey, Bernard, and obviously he probably didn't, I don't know if he knew who I was, I'm not quite sure, but he's like, he greeted me, and then I just went to my room. Came down for breakfast. Who did I see? Bernard Hopkins with Miguel Cotto, and I was like, okay, what's going on? Like, this is crazy. Like, Miguel Cotto's just there. Miguel, if you know me, if you guys have watched the channel for the last 4 or 5 years, you'll know, like, two of my favorite fighters are Miguel Cotto and Bernard Hopkins. They're right there in front of me. Didn't go up to them. Far too nervous, didn't go up to them. But then it was just like so much sort of media stuff, fighter meetings, which I've never ever done before. You guys have probably seen that behind the scenes when the fighter comes and they speak to the presenters, commentators, and you just get to ask a lot more questions. So you've got some stuff there to always refer to during fight night. So that was a bit surreal as well. All the fighters in front of you was just crazy, and their entourage, and just speaking to Oscar De La Hoya and going to the Golden Boy offices. It was just a very, very surreal trip, one that I'm very thankful for. The night itself didn't go 100% smooth for me. Because the fights ran long, a lot of what we had planned had to get chopped. So it was a lot of direction in my ear, like, okay, Ali, that's not going to happen, quick, just throw it back. And it was very, very fast paced, very loud. But overall, for my first big one in America, I mean, 6, 7 out of 10, it wasn't bad. And I'm lucky because obviously the head of boxing for DAZN really likes me. So I feel like I've got a lot of time to grow and be incredible. Like, I'm not joking. I was so motivated when I finished. When I finished, I was like, you know what? Give me 5 of these, like 5 more. Not 10, not 15, not 20. Give me 5 more. And I'll crack this. Like, I'll be so comfortable, like the way I am on radio. I said to them that I don't like the fact that I'm doing these. Again, I'm very grateful, but doing these once every 5 months. How are you supposed to get better at something if you're doing it once every 5 months? And he's like, you know what, you're right. Let's just make sure you're the person we use. If anyone falls off, no matter where in the world, we're using you. So that's really good for them to kind of believe in me like that. But overall, look, crazy experience. I mean, in my dressing room, is obviously Sean Porter. Obviously, I was working with Sean Porter. So me and Sean go backstage, rehearse. We get back. Who's in the dressing room? Michael B. Jordan. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Obviously, you play it cool. Hey, Michael. Like, you know, like he's your best friend. And they shot Creed. They were shooting Creed during the break. So during the 4-minute break, Michael B. Jordan was shooting Creed, like getting the crowd to react to a boxer walking to the ring. It was very, very surreal, the whole thing. Couple of superstars ringside as well. Aaron Donald from the LA Rams. I don't know if you guys follow NFL. Draymond Green, Stephen A. Smith. Actors were there, actresses, singers. Like Ryan Garcia pulls a crowd. He really does. I think there was about 10,000 in there, which isn't bad when you consider Javier Forutna is not exactly a big name. Co-main event, Alexis Rocha versus Luis Veron. Not a lot of people know who they are. Lamont Roach, you kind of should know who that is. Taking on Angel Rodriguez. So it wasn't like there was a big undercard. So Ryan pulling 10 is just Ryan, that's his pull. But there is something very superstar about Ryan. Obviously, he's a good-looking kid. We know about the following, but it's a bit more than that. It's just very confident. He's got really good swag about him, and it all adds up to being a superstar. It's not just talent in the ring. I mean, that's one thing, but if you can mirror talent and then kind of just who you are outside the ring, this comparison's very silly. But obviously, Floyd was a genius in the ring. But if Floyd was somewhat boring out the ring, I don't think his superstar status wouldn't be as big. But because Floyd was very flashy and flamboyant out the ring, it just kind of worked. It worked. It's almost a bit like Terence Crawford's a genius in the ring, but we don't see much out the ring. That's why Terence probably isn't the superstar he should be. Does that make sense? Whereas Ryan's a bit of a superstar out the ring, obviously, and in the ring, it's growing. It's getting better. I'm not going to compare him to Terence or Floyd. I'm not that silly, but it's growing. But he's definitely got that superstar status about him. I was lucky, so immediately after the fight, what normally happens, they do a ringside interview and then they have to go and do their drug testing, so you don't really get to speak to them. He came straight to us, straight to the studio. So we had him immediately after. So I was able to ask him some questions about going back down to 135. He doesn't want to do it. And that makes sense. I never understand why these guys kill themselves to make weight. It's almost like you're depleting your body of everything just to be the bigger guy on the night. Doesn't make sense. Ryan Garcia is about my height. Honestly, he's about 5'10", 5'11". He's 23, he's growing. Go to 140. If your body can't do 135, go to 140. And people might say, oh yeah, but he misses out on the big fights. Those guys are going to come up. Devon, I interviewed Devon. I don't know if you guys saw. I interviewed Devon during the broadcast as well. Devon looked big. He looked very big. Not as tall as Ryan, but he's looking a bit thick. He ain't staying at 135 for long. He'll have that Kambosos fight, then he's going to go up. Teofimo's already gone up. Javonte, maybe his frame doesn't allow him to go up like the others, but they're all going to go up. And I think that the fight with Javonte will happen at 140 anyway. I don't think it being at 140 is a problem for Javonte. Javonte don't mind. Or even if it's a catchweight, which I hate, like a 137. I don't like that, don't get me wrong. But even if it's that, there's no belts on the line, so you can kind of flirt with the idea of a catchweight. But being over there, him versus Javonte and the talk about it, it's enormous. It's funny because CLB, I'm going to shout him out, always tells me that's like, I think he always says that Ryan's not a star and that won't be a big fight, or Ryan is a star. I've been there now. Normally, when someone tells you something about America and you haven't been there, you're like, okay, I've been there. I've spoken to Stephen A. Smith ringside. I know how big a star Ryan is. And sometimes you've got to experience it yourself. Ryan's a star. Is he as big as Javonte in terms of a boxing star? No. But I think he adds the other stuff to it, doesn't he? He's his own persona and following. So I think that fight now is enormous. I don't know how it works. I'm not sure if they'll do a split pay-per-view. I don't know if it generates enough money for it to do a split pay-per-view. But that's the fight to make. It is the fight to make. And I'm sure right now, as we speak, there are conversations, maybe faint ones, but there are conversations going on behind the scenes about Ryan Garcia versus Javonte Davis. Because the others have worked. Obviously, Teofimo's got a fight coming up. Devin Haney is going to do a Kambosos rematch. Shakur's got Conceição. So all the guys in and around that weight class have got work, apart from Ryan and Javonte. So I don't see why not. And if it isn't that, then look, there are 140 guys Ryan can have fights with that will still do some good numbers. Not Javonte Davis numbers, but again, you can't just stall your career. When I spoke to Ryan, I said, look, are you going to be out again before the end of the year? And he said, yes. So he wants to be out. So whether or not that's enough time to make a Javonte fight, I'm not sure. To the fight in itself, Javier Forutna looked poor. He looked poor at the weigh-in. Javier Forutna really is a super feather. I mean, even at lightweight, he's tiny. So the idea of him fighting at 140 was silly. There was no rehydration clause, so I don't know what Ryan's walking into the ring with. Ryan didn't look too big. I don't think Ryan put on, I'd say about 10 pounds. Javier Forutna just looked like he was 140. Looked a bit flabby around the belly. And Ryan, obviously, we know how good he is to those body shots. Just folded him. Got caught a couple of times, Ryan. As you're going to, people kind of remark that he got caught. I mean, everyone gets caught. What is this? I mean, fucking no, he's not Pernell Whitaker. He's going to get caught. There are things to work on under Joe Goosen. There is still a bit of him doing what he's done under Eddie Reynoso and still trying to, learn the Joe Goosen tactics. So there are going to be times where he's a bit sort of in his head, confused of what he's doing. But I think overall we saw a better Ryan Garcia. I think he started to sort of go through the gears very, very quickly from rounds 3 onwards. And I thought it was a good performance. Me and Ryan were discussing in the studio off air, what was the better performance, that or Luke? I said Luke because I think Luke's better than Javier Forutna. But he thought overall, in terms of just complete, he thought Forutna was, and he's going to say that obviously because Luke put him down. So you're maybe not going to, but he did say Luke's a much better boxer than Forutna. Like Luke's length, Luke's hand speed, underrated power as well. But he thinks this was a more complete performance, and I think it was. There was a guy on the undercard that I don't know if a lot of you guys will know, Alexis Rocha at welterweight. He's only lost once. That was to Rashidi Ellis. Beat Blair Cobbs last time out, stopped him. He's a very good fighter. Speaking to Oscar, they reached out to Matchroom for the Van Heerden fight that Conor Benn had. They wanted it. They wanted Alexis Rocha versus Conor Benn, Golden Boy. And I'm not quite sure what happened, but it didn't happen. So I'm guessing Matchroom didn't want it to happen because Alexis Rocha wanted that fight. Because Alexis Rocha was supposed to fight Morris Hooker. Okay, what did they say to me? They said, Alexis Rocha was supposed to fight Morris Hooker as well. Morris Hooker pulled out with a family bereavement or something. Then Conor Benn was supposed to fight Morris Hooker. Morris Hooker pulled out with an injury. So they're like, why don't we just do Alexis Rocha versus Conor Benn? But obviously they went the Van Heerden route instead. They should have gone the Alexis Rocha route. But again, these are things that we don't really know that go on behind the scenes, innit? We'll see. We'll see anyway. What else is there to talk about? I don't know, by the way, if I'm going to the AJ fight. I'm not quite sure if DAZN have got the international rights. I was speaking to the head of boxing for DAZN. I'm like, look, I want to go, man. Like, regardless of what's going to happen, like, I need to get out there. Like, even if I have to, like, just go as OLADIPO YouTuber, I'm going out there because it's a big fight. I don't want to miss it. I really don't. But we'll see what happens. I'm guessing decisions are being made behind the scenes above my pay grade. But hopefully I'll let you guys know in a couple of weeks whether or not we are going out there for it. One fight that I'm definitely covering is KSI versus Wasabi. I think I've got to do a bit of research on this. August 27th. They're putting a really, really strong team. By the way, randomly, did you see Ariel Helwani? Do you guys know who that is? Big MMA journalist, does a bit of basketball sometimes as well, used to when he was at ESPN, covers a lot of boxing now as well. He tweeted out about me. He said, great OLADIPO is doing a great job hosting for DAZN right now. You know how crazy that is? Because if you ask me, like, people, keep pushing. Honestly, all of you guys out there that are doing the YouTube and shit, keep on fucking going. You generally do not know what's going to happen. And the reason I say that is because I still am one of Ariel's biggest fans. Like, if you were to ask me, the 3 people I watch the most on YouTube, Joe Rogan, Luke Thomas, another MMA boxing guy, and Ariel Helwani. Probably Ariel the most. Like, I'm obsessed with Ariel Helwani. So for him to tweet that out and someone to show me during the broadcast, I was like, how the fuck is this happening? So yeah, keep going. Please keep going. All right, let's see. Shields. Marshall's going to be shocked at how strong I am, how hard I punch. Can't wait for this one. I beg DAZN to do something. I've got to, I guess, maybe speak to Ben Shalom myself. I was like, look, I know we're not covering it, but we've got to cover boxing. This is the biggest female fight card. Is it bigger than Taylor Serrano? Not bigger in terms of eyeballs, but you've got 2 fantastic female fights on there. 2 genuine 50-50 female fights. And obviously you've got the Hannah Rankin, Tasha Jonas, so there's loads of them there. And I'm like, come on. So they're trying to sort it out behind the scenes. So hopefully DAZN are there. We'll see. What else we got? Jack Cattrall, Josh Taylor is under a lot of pressure to make rematch happen. What's going on with that? I'm kind of tired of even talking about that, if I'm honest with you. We'll see. Maya on Baumgardner. She's getting the biggest payday of her life after doing nothing for the sport. Don't agree with that at all. I mean, look, I think I might be wrong here, but I think the average boxing fan might know Baumgardner more than they know Maya. Not saying that Baumgardner's done more work. I just feel like Baumgardner might be the more popular or known of the 2, especially over here, because we've seen her fight a couple of times over here. And what she done to Terry Harper, Jesus Christ. A bit here about Sinisa Estrada, who I was obviously working with on the night. She was with Golden Boy. She no longer is. I did ask her and say, look, are you going to sign with Matchroom? She's the minimum weight, WBA minimum weight champion. So she's very, very small. And Matchroom don't really have any minimum weight female fighters. So I guess she's going to go to whoever has those type of fighters. I'm trying to think who has probably Top Rank. That's the only other one I can think of. Eddie Hernia, Bivol may have to get through Boazzi and Zerdo to get Canelo fight. Yeah, it's been ordered. Obviously, him versus Zerdo. Again, this is the benefit of being in these meetings of Golden Boy. Obviously, Zerdo's a Golden Boy fighter, and I asked them. I said, in percentage terms, how close would you say Bivol versus Zerdo is? And they said 80%. And I said, why not 100%? And they said, oh, because you're an English guy. So obviously, behind the scenes, Eddie Hearn's trying to make Boazzi versus Bivol. So I guess that's the only reason it's not 100%. But it's more likely going to be Zerdo versus Bivol, which is a very, very competitive fight. Very competitive fight. Whereas if it was Bivol versus Boazzi, I think you'd give the favourite tag to Bivol. This one, kind of 50-50, I think. I think anyway. What else have we got here? Tyson Fury admits he feared brain damage in aftermath of Wilder trilogy. Mate, honestly, that punch that he landed in the third fight where Fury's body wobbled, that's brain damage right there. It really is. That was frightening. That's frightening. Anything else before we pack up? I didn't watch any of the Hamza Shiraz card. Everyone says it was a good card. Dennis McCann on there as well. Didn't watch anything. Mark Heffron, didn't watch anything. Nick Ball. All in all, that sounds like a really good card. I'd have to watch it to give my opinion. But from what, the streets are saying, that's probably one of the best cards that Frank Warren has done from top to bottom in a while. So I'm definitely gonna watch that. Conor Benn teased us, didn't he? He put out a tweet saying an Instagram story post saying big announcement in 1 hour, and everyone thought that was it. And I was about to make a Chris Eubank Jr. video, and then he announced an NFT. So no announcement yet. I expect something to be announced in the next few days, surely. I mean, there's no smoke without fire, right? So I'm expecting something to happen. In America, they love Conor Benn, like really, really. You know what it is? I think I'm trying to understand like their appreciation for him because they're quite flashy American fighters, like and he's like them, isn't he? Like we don't have anyone else like that over here. I'm trying to think of all the fighters we have over here. We don't have anyone that's kind of just out there, very open on social media, very sort of that kind of personality. We don't, but they've got loads of them, and maybe that's why. Because I was speaking to Devon, I said do you follow UK boxing? He's like, yeah, Conor Benn's a good one. I don't know why I just did an American accent there. So yeah, they like Conor Benn there. But back to the Conor Benn, Chris Eubank Jr. thing. Hopefully it gets announced in a few days, and we all then know the details of what's going on, like weight class, venue, etc., etc. But it's incredible incredible. I know some people said that what are Matchroom doing? They've kind of built Conor Benn slowly. It is a big jump from what they've done with him. When you think of Vargas, Granados, Algieri. And then what was the last guy again? Can't remember his name. Van Heerden. To go from that to Eubank at a catch weight potentially, it's a big jump. So it's a big slowly boom. But I guess sometimes it always comes down to that, You roll the dice, your numbers come up. I mean, say he wins. Say Conor Benn wins. Fucking hell. Say Conor Benn knocks out Eubank Jr. Jesus Christ. I don't know what happened there. I've seen the British Boxing Board of Control have ordered Josh Kelly and Troy Williamson. I don't think Josh Kelly's taking that fight. I doubt it. I doubt it very much. I wouldn't. If I was his team, you avoid that one like the plague. Deontay Wilder. Now Frank Warren and I believe someone from Deontay Wilder's team kind of let leak that Deontay Wilder looks like he's going to return against Helenius. Good fight. That's a very, very good fight. A winnable fight for Helenius, I really do believe that. That's a tough fight to come back to. Helenius looked really good, and I know Kalnaki is not not Deontay Wilder, but Helenius looked really revitalized, almost like an Indian summer. So it'll be interesting to see if that is the case, because there was some talk a couple of weeks ago of maybe Deontay Wilder not returning, but it looks like he will. And I think Helenius is a really good name. It's going to be interesting to see what they do with Dillian Whyte and Derek Chisora. That seems to be the obvious fight to make. A bit here about Joseph Parker versus Otto Wallin. Boxer are looking at that one. It's not as good as Joe Joyce, is it? Especially with how Otto Wallin looked against Sokolowski. Remember that? Looked awful. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are done. Peace and love. We out of here.